Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. Today I'm reviewing an HO scale SD40T-2 locomotive from Athearn. My example is decorated for Southern Pacific with DRGW reporting marks. This model is part of Athearn's ready-to-roll line and is available in two versions. The MSRP for the DCC Ready model is $139.98. The MSRP for the version with Soundtrack's Economy DCC and sound installed is $199.98. I paid $169.98 for the sound-equipped version from a popular online retailer. We'll start the engine at 100 possible points. The engine comes in a cardboard box with a clear plastic window. Inside, a two-piece plastic cradle protects the model. The handrails come from the factory with foam protectors. The box includes two bags of detail parts, mostly for the fuel tank area on the model. This is a good box that should protect the model for storage and transport. I found a few photos of the real DRGW 5387 online. In one photo from August 1994, the locomotive was still in Rio Grande colors. Other photos from 1995 and 1996 showed an SP red and gray, so the model best represents the engine in that time period. The model appears to be a close match to the prototype overall. I noticed a few minor discrepancies. On the real engine, the grab irons on the nose are painted white instead of red in a photo I found from 1996. The shape of the plow is close but very slightly different than on the model. The pilot should have diagonal slots near the corner steps, and one of the MU receptacle plugs is in the wrong place. The round fuel gauges on the sides of the fuel tank are slightly too far forward. There may be others. All of these are minor issues, so I'm not going to take any points, though I'll likely correct them on my model. The paint on the model is thin and opaque. The markings are crisp, and I could only find a few tiny voids at panel seams. Most of the tiny writing on warning labels and such is legible with magnification. One of the main improvements Athearn has made to the tunnel motor is to move the gear tower on the rear truck forward. In combination with the photo-etched side grills, this creates a see-through effect much like on the prototype. This is one of my older Athearn tunnel motors. The gear tower is much more visible when looking through the model. The dynamic brake assembly on my model was not seated properly, resulting in a gap. It appears that some wires inside the model were preventing the part from snapping on all the way like it should. I was able to fix this by lifting the part up and coaxing the wires into a different position. I had to be careful to check both sides before closing things up again, as the wires are springy and tend to want to push out on the sides. I wouldn't recommend lifting this model by the dynamic brake section, as it comes off pretty easily, exposing the wires. In front, the model has separately applied windshield wipers, freestanding grab irons, and a delicate brake wheel on the fireman's side. The pilot has uncoupling levers, MU hoses, and a plow. The box around the oscillating light is accurate for this unit. Some Rio Grande tunnel motors were built this way. The photo-etched sunshades on my model were in positions that I didn't like when I took the model out of the box. Fortunately, they're pretty easy to adjust, though be careful not to do this too much as they will eventually break off. The cab windows are positionable, though in my experience these tend to move around and not stay where you put them. I usually end up gluing mine with a dab of white glue or canopy glue. I don't like the cab wind deflectors. They're bright to the point of being distracting. Some weathering should help tone them down. Replacing them with aftermarket parts would be even better. In back, the model has more freestanding grabs. There was a small glue blob under the rear headlight on my model. Between this and the ill-fitting dynamic brake section, I think Athearn could have been a little more careful when putting the model together, so I'm taking 5 points for the fit and finish issues. Up top, the model has a functional beacon. The antenna on the cab roof is slightly crooked on my unit. The dynamic brake fans have see-through grills and separate blade detail inside, though they don't look as good as some other fans I've seen. The tunnel motor at the top of the picture was upgraded with Cannon fans, and I think they look much better. I'll likely make this upgrade to my model of 5387 eventually. The horn casting looks good. The radiator grills are molded on but have a subtle paint treatment that gives the illusion of depth. Underneath, the detail is a little sparse. The truck slack brake lines in the fuel tank area looks a little bare. Adding some of the included detail parts as appropriate should help. The trucks are Athearn's tried and true blue box design with internal axle bearings and cosmetic plastic side frames. All of the wheels pick up current and all the axles are powered. The model has McHenry knuckle couplers on both ends. The coupler in the front is slightly high. The coupler in the back is close enough to call it okay. All of the wheels are in gauge according to the NMRA standards gauge. There is no significant body wobble. The engine weighs 15.6 ounces. Pulling power peaked at 3.3 ounces when I tested it with my force gauge. Many HO scale diesels pull about 2.5 ounces, so this model has plenty of power. Since this engine has a Soundtrax Economy DCC sound decoder pre-installed, I'm testing it on DCC. I haven't changed any of the factory decoder settings. The front headlight and ditch lights are activated with F0 and are directional. The lights appear to be LEDs, a welcome improvement over the bulbs that Athearn used to use. F5 turns on the oscillating light, which is a pretty good simulation. F6 turns on the beacon. I don't really care for the flashing effect on this light. The number boards have some light coming through them from the beacon, so it looks like they could be lit up, but they don't appear to have any lights installed. The class lights are not functional. F8 turns on the sound. F1 rings the bell, and F2 sounds the horn. The engine starts and runs fairly smoothly. For my own tastes, I want to tweak the CV settings in the decoder for better low-speed performance. The decoder has some other sounds as well that can be activated with various function keys. Let's take a look at what we've got. There were some fit and finish issues, so I took 5 points in the paint and detail category. The front coupler was high, so I took 5 points in the standards and operation category. That leaves us with a total of 90 out of 100 possible points, which would be an A- on a report card. This is a nice model and it deserves a green signal. This is a pretty good model of a tunnel motor. If you're a fan of 1990s SP and Rio Grande power like I am, I think you'll like it.